play with myself. Yes.
Hello， 抱歉啊，刚刚我们在尝试一下跨海的连线，我们等大家进来，大家进来可以跟我们打个招呼。那我知道你进来了，嗨，好，大家进来了。今天呢，我们邀请到翡翠庄园的庄园主，他叫做 Rachel。那等一下呢，他会跟我们一起来线上直播，就是2个萤幕，一个在台湾，一个在巴拿马。那往年呢，我们都会去巴拿马，就是亲自见面，然后去喝咖啡聊聊天。但今年因为疫情，所以我们没有办法过去。我们就讨论说，那不然就在竞标开始前来一场线上的见面会。对啊，那既然线上见面会，想说大家就一起加入，对，就这样开了第1集。好，今天呢，我大概跟大家讲一下翡翠庄园呢它的历史。那我不知道大家对历史熟不熟悉，因为它是非常有名的庄园。大家想到艺伎，应该都会想到翡翠庄园。那等一下呢，我会先简单讲一下，剩下的我会希望Rachel 也来补充一下，由他来介绍他自己跟翡翠庄园。那我这边会尽力的翻译，Hello 小叶 ，Hello 雅雅。好，在等他进来之前呢，我们就大概来讲一下翡翠庄园的历史。翡翠庄园大概有50年以上的历史。那在2004年，他的哥哥Daniel 在一次杯测会里面，他自己的内部杯测，要选一只豆子丢到当年度的 Best of Panama， 就是 BOP。那他在试的时候发现其中一杯，喝起来怎么特别不一样，然后他把这一只拿下来跟大家讨论。他那时候有点担心说，如果因为当时这样的味道并不是好的咖啡会有的味道，所以他有一点犹豫，不知道该不该拿这样子的味道去比当年的 BOP。但是后来呢，就是他们愿意去冒险，把这个特别味道这个豆子拿去比 BOP， 结果果不其然，就这样一战成名。那一杯就是现在大家所知道的 Geisha， 对，这是 Geisha 的来源。好，我来邀请一下 Rachel。Hello， 好，我们等他进来。大家有没有收到这次的样品啊？这次我们样品买的不多，所以有分给一些大家会想一起竞标的几个朋友。等一下我们就可以边喝，我这边都准备好了，边喝，然后 Rachel 呢会跟我们一起介绍，边喝边介绍。那大家也可以讲一讲说，你想要买哪一个地块啊？或者说你如果有喝到样品的话，可以告诉我们说哪一支很有兴趣。那我们今年可以一起来参加竞标，希望台湾可以把好豆子标多一点回来。好，其实我刚刚呢跟 Rachel 已经有个私下的视讯，他来了，我们刚先蕊一下，怕音讯等等的问题，所以让大家久等。那我们现在就邀请翡翠庄园的庄园主 Rachel 进来咯。Hey Rachel.
Finally. Again.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. Technology is not my thing, but here I am. Good to see you.
Neither am I. Okay. I just introduced a little bit about Esmeralda. And I think it's better to listen to you and your information about yourself and Esmeralda. Is it okay?
Sure. So I'm Rachel Peterson from Esmeralda Coffee Farm in Panama. I'm going to put this in a way that I'm on the screen. Esmeralda is mostly known for geisha coffee. So I'm going to talk to you mostly about our geisha coffees. We have coffee producing regions and altitudes and qualities. So I think we're mostly going to talk about the auction coffees today because our auction is coming up on this Wednesday, the 28th. But we also have micro lots that we sell outside of the auction, Esmeralda specials, natural and washed. And we also have a private collection, which is per region or per farm. So we have a farm called Cañas Verdes, a farm called Jaramillo, and a farm called El Velo, all of which produce geisha coffee. And they have different taste profiles in general. So we try and look for the coffees that most represent that terroir and bring out the geisha coffee flavors as per that terroir. So, for example, the Jaramillo region is very, very floral, perfumed. It's not super high altitude. It goes from 1,500 to about 1,700 and 1,750, I guess, with the higher lots there. But those coffees, are very perfumed. A lot of peaches, apricots, and bergamot. And then we have coffees from the Cañas Verdes region, which are both of these are also in the auction. The coffees from the Cañas Verdes region, you're going to look for jasmine as well, perfume, florals. But you're also going to look for things like red berries and maybe yellow fruits like mango or papaya, more tropical fruits. And in El Velo region, we have, El Velo is our northernmost farm, and it gets it has different weather patterns. So in that farm, you're going to look for more spicy flavors. You're also going to get floral, but you're going to get more herbal, spicy, lemongrass, pepperish type flavors in the geisha in that one. So that is a general overview. Geisha coffee in general is, for it to be a good geisha coffee, it should have a strong floral character to it, such as jasmine, and it should have a fruit component to it, such as could be peaches and apricots, or it could be berries, or it could be any type of fruit. Cherries are very common too. And it should have bergamot in the cup, and it should have a solid acidity that'll carry it through, so it's still very, very sweet and floral as it cools. That's what we look for in a geisha.
Wow, Rachel, that's a long story. I'll try my best
sorry.
to translate that.
We can go over it one by one if you want. I always forget you have to translate.
but I got the point. Oh, but don't worry. There's another one. Is share our video, and there's a translator there, okay, so that in Taiwan they can see the translator in live.
Oh, good.
They are now live in 2.
Okay.
So, but I will try my best to translate. Okay. 好，就是呢 ，Rachel 说她是庄园主，然后翡翠庄园呢，它大概分3个地块，那有3个不同的地块，每一个地块呢都有种植艺伎，但是每一个艺伎的味道都不太一样，因为那边的气候或者那边的土壤等等，都会造成不同地块有不同的风味。那有些地块会有浓郁的花香，那有些地块它可能是莓果味比较重。这个我觉得我们可以把它整理成一个影片，然后我们就分别列出各个地块，然后以及它的风味特色，用这样子的方式来跟大家介绍，或许会比较好。那刚刚 Rachel 是来跟我们讲一下说，整个翡翠庄园的架构，它有艺伎，然后有不同品种的区块， 然后还有一个是伊索比亚的品种的一个分类，再来一个是特别的品种，像是 SL28 或者 Pacamara 或者是尖身波旁，它大概会分这几类。那每一类呢都有特别的，都有好长一段啊。这个我就把它整理成文章，然后贴出来。那顺便跟大家讲一下，就是现在啊，原始咖啡就俊元哥他们那边有一个转直播，把我们现在在直播的转到他那边，然后有一位专业的翻译帮我们翻译英文。那如果大家觉得想要看比较仔细，那也可以去那边，或者是我们一起看。对，那到时候我们会把影片都上传。好，大家有任何问题啊，都欢迎在底下发问。我有看到的话，我就会抓紧机会来问 Rachel。好。Okay, Rachel. So we have 3 topics today. One is the auction lot, and we are copying the auction lot. Actually, I already copied. And if you like to share more information about each lot, it will be better. So that's the first part. And the second.
Okay, so I'm going to start by telling you that we have 300 micro lots. So of those we chose, from those 300, we chose these 5 washed and 5 naturals that went into the auction. And I actually would have to look up my notes to remember very specific details on it. I can give you a general on each one, but like I would have to look up if you want to know specific things about it. So what are you talking about, flavor profile or just in general? Which is your favorite, for starters? We can talk about that one.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. My favorite and your favorite, and maybe some clients, because some clients also get the sample.
Okay.
And they can say what's their favorite. My favorites in wash the lot. My favorite is number 4. Montagna. Yes. This is my favorite one.
Okay.
I'm
going to start by saying that obviously all 10 of them were my favorites. Otherwise, they wouldn't go on the auction. So out of 300, we chose 10. So I would say that from the Cañas Verdes region, that was my favorite as well, the Montaña. And the Montaña is always a very, very well-performing coffee. It's very complex. It has a lot of different things going on in the cup at the same time. So you're not only going to find the jasmine, but you're going to find a lot of complexity in the cup. So it's going to have more than having solely stone fruit. It's going to have, again, cherries and red fruit and mango in it, is what I have in my notes. And the Montaña will always do well. It's normally the coffee that we choose from that region for our Best of Panama competition. So it's a very strong performing coffee all of the time. The other coffees from there, Leon has also been a winner, and there are certain cuts of Leon that are really very nice. This one, for example, we cupped many, many times before we decided to put it in the auction because not all of the Leons perform as well, but this one was very bright and it was full of flavor. So we decided to include that. Lino is a coffee that is more subtle as you start to cup it. So it won't have the rush of aromatics when you first smell it, but it is an extremely elegant floral cup. So the flavor profile will come out a little bit later in the cupping, but it will cool down and it will be very floral all the way through until the end. Always elegant, Lino. Mario is the most well-known coffee that we have because our coffee was originally found on the Mario slope of Jaramillo. It's always a popular choice. Also, again, this one is going to be full of peaches and apricot and jasmine and bergamot. But from that side, from the Jaramillo farm, my favorite this year was the Noria. And so Noria it's also a well-performing coffee. It's another micro lot in the region of Jaramillo, and it was just a jasmine bomb this year for me, and it was full of flavor. So I found a lot of cherries, and let me go back to my notes here. I remember this coffee, actually. I don't really have to look it up, but it had what I'm always looking for, which is intensity of jasmine and stone fruit.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand your choice, and yes, I think it's an excellent choice. Then again, as I said, I think that all of these coffees are excellent. That's why I chose them for this, and hopefully everybody will have a different favorite coffee. It will make the auction easier.
OK， 刚刚 Rachel 说呢，就是我问他说他最喜欢哪一杯，他说其实这每一杯都是他最喜欢的，因为竞标批次是由300个不同的批次里面挑出5支水洗，加上5支日晒，那所以每一支都是精挑细选，挑出最强的。那我刚刚是选说我喜欢第4号，他有讲到说第4号呢，其实每一个批次啊，在不同的地块都有不同的 terroir， 就是地块的风味特性。那他会特别去挑那个地块的这个风味调性最浓郁的，或者是最鲜艳、最特别的来做竞标批次。那每一个地块的不同风味啊，我觉得也是可以用影片或者是用文字的方式列出来。然后刚刚 Rachel 有说到说不同的批次，它的细节的味道，应该不是说批次，应该说不同地块它会有一个主轴的味道。那 Rachel 刚刚有说，但是太多了，我现在如果这样翻译的话，我觉得我脑袋没有可以塞这么多东西。老实说，好，刚刚有讲到，其实我们刚刚是讲到水洗啊，水洗有5支，那第一支是雷用区很特别哦。那时候2019年我们去翡翠庄园的时候，那 Rachel 就带我去雷用区，那是一个很高海拔的地方。然后他们的咖啡艺伎啊，也是才刚种没多久，就是一个非常年轻，然后海拔高，各方面都资源丰富的一区。那在这么年轻的树种跟地块，其实可以马上出现这么强的味道，代表它是潜力股。所以我们今天也看到说，雷用区的放在第一支，就是水洗的第一支。那我也觉得说这个味道啊，它有很强烈的柠檬调跟柑橘，然后尾巴会有一些伯爵茶，就是我觉得是蛮经典，但是它的厚度又更强，然后层次又更好。所以今年的非竞标批次啊，还有去年的，我们也是特别挑雷用区的水洗，会感觉它的那种经典调性是非常强烈的。OK， Rachel， I think we can just move on because I already covered all the coffees.
Okay.
And let's talk about the.
Out of curiosity, though, which was your favorite natural?
Oh, my favorite, number 5. I love it.
Oh,
number
good.
5. Let me check.
Excellent.
This is Tumaco.
Yes, Tumaco.
That's my favorite one.
Excellent.
Because it's super
Excellent.
floral and some like pineapple and very fruity.
Very fruity, yes. Very fruity.
And it's super sweet too, like honey. I love this one. And the other one, the second one is number 2. It's the tropical fruit, the flavor.
The Mario.
The Mario, yes.
Yes.
Yes, these 2. Number 5 is my favorite, and then it's number 2. So what's your choice?
Let me look at my notes here on the On the number one, I have Bright and Balanced with notes of jasmine, cherries, and blueberries. That's the Mario, that's the Cabana. Then on the Mario, I have Intensely Floral Geisha, smooth and clean cup, brimming with notes of nectarines and peaches, which is typical for that. On the Norias, I love both of the Norias. I usually don't put two Norias, but I really like the Noria this year. Clean and sweet geisha with notes of jasmine, bergamot, and apricot. And then the second one, I have Fruit Bomb, full of notes of tropical fruits and red berries. So I found them a little bit different. And then on the Tumaco, full-bodied geisha, which is something that I enjoy a lot. So many times the geishas can be a little light-bodied. Full-bodied geisha with notes of candy, tropical fruits, and intense jasmine. So that's the Tumaco.
I remember
all of them
last
have something different. Yeah. Oh, we went there. The last time you came, we went there.
Last year.
Exactly.
Is it last year? Yes, last year. And the year before last year, we go to
last year nobody came. What did you come in February before the pandemic?
Yes.
I can't remember. I think you did, right? Yeah. That's you guys were the last group to come.
Yeah. You just drive me there. I mean, your car. And asking some stupid question. I remember I asked you like, where is the Caña Verde? And you're like, oh, Caña Verde is like everywhere. Here is Caña Verde. I should ask you where's the Leon?
Yeah. Yeah, I could have shown you. It's right before we get up to the gate that opens up where we went in to drive up to the cabin. Right, on the right hand side, if you go down a small path there, and that's where the area of Leon is, very close to where we were. Tumaco, we had to walk quite a bit. Remember?
Yeah, I remember. I remember the view in Leon.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. Oh, is it the highest altitude of all the region?
Which one? Not the Leon. The Montaña is higher, but of these, but higher than the Montaña, we have Nido. And Nido, I didn't put in the auction because I wanted to. Well, actually, I think I would have put it in the auction, but we had very small quantities, so it seemed difficult to put it in the auction. But we'll have more Nido next year. Nido is from the Cañas Verdes region, definitely the highest elevation. It's around 2,000 and a bit. It's a newer production.
Wow. Okay.
The Montaña right now is the highest. Okay.
We forgot our audience. 好，大家抱歉啊，我每次都忘了翻译啊。就是我们刚刚选啊日晒，那我喜欢5号，超级喜欢这个味道啊，它是超级丰富，南瓜的花香，然后莓果，然后热带水果，然后尾巴一点凤梨的那种清香，层次超级明显。我觉得这真是太厉害了。然后 Rachel 也说这是个，他也非常享受这个，他很 enjoy 第5号这一支。然后也有讲到刚刚我们讲到雷用区啊，雷用区呢，就是我在2019，我没记错应该是2019还是2018，然后那时候我第一次去翡翠庄园，那 Rachel 呢就载我们去雷用的那个地块。然后记得我们开了一段路，然后那个路非常颠簸，我们就在那边摇摇晃晃，摇摇晃晃。然后你会看到路上很多的 pickers 他们在摘豆子，那个时候是采收期，然后我们就会停下来，他们就会跟 Rachel 打招呼，然后感觉起来是一个，就是非常和善的一个庄园主，很照顾这些员工。然后我们到了那个地方的时候，那个 view 超级漂亮 ，view 非常的漂亮。所以我们刚刚有聊到说，雷用区我们有去过，然后 Tumaco 啊，我们刚刚讲的第5支，就是我们都很喜欢的这个第5支啊，它在 Tumaco 这个地块。那 Tumaco 是我去年的时候去的，那边我拍了很多照片，就是那边有一个房子是专门盖给员工的，他们就在里面住，然后有工作，有地方住。 大家就在那边挑豆子，然后装袋，然后上车。这是我们去年看到我觉得蛮有缘分的。因为雷用区的水洗啊，是我最近一直以来最喜欢的一个地块，那也去过了。然后 Tumaco 呢是我去年去的，那今年我喝起来觉得哇，这个味道非常好，所以也是一个运气不错。好，那我刚跟 Rachel 讨论啊，就是说我们就不要再杯测了，因为我已经试过。那如果要讲每一个批次的 detail 太细节的话，其实因为他也没有去把每一个 detail 都列出来，所以我觉得我们可以用文字的方式去写。那所以我们可以直接进入下一个 Q&A 时间。那如果大家有任何疑问啊，等一下大家有问疑问的话呢，我们先把列好的疑问先问完，然后我再往上滑上面的留言，看大家问了什么。好，所以大家还有一段时间可以想大家想问什么。Okay, Rachel, let's dive into the second part. Q&A. You know, I'm super excited to be live with you. Oh, this is the first time we're online, right? The first time.
Yes.
The live stream.
First time I've ever done a live stream, so for sure it's the first time.
Yeah. This is the first time.
On Facebook, at least, yeah.
I just started up a series. It's called Coffee Sidekicks. We like to have some video to introduce the stories from the origin. And
nice.
Hacienda Esmeralda is the first episode.
Thank you.
I'm so happy. Okay, let's dive into Q&A. Okay. I would like to know that what's the difficulties you are facing pre and pro the COVID-19?
Pre and post COVID?
Yeah,
there's different things because COVID brings different difficulties. So the difficulties that we normally are going to have to do with weather, with the rains or with not enough rain, or with this year the main problem was that we did not have enough sunshine. So there was too much overcast and cold. So it was difficult because some of the coffees didn't develop the flavor profile correctly. So because they don't have enough sun radiation, and they need the sun radiation to produce the sugars and all the things that they have inside of them, so they become much more acidic but less sweet. So one of the things that we can do for that is bring down the humidity level inside of the bean so that there's not so much water activity. And it will, when it dries a little bit more and it has lacked enough sun radiation, it will stabilize a little bit and the sugars will come out correctly. So that was the main problem that we had this year. We didn't have enough sun radiation. But we worked through it and we were able to get the humidity levels on those coffees a little bit further down, and the flavor profiles came through okay. But normally it's better to have more sunshine, because otherwise the plant itself, it just doesn't receive enough radiation from the sun to be able to transform and do all the processes that the plant needs. And those processes are important for the sugars to come through on the coffee. And for the acidity is fine because it'll have a lot of acidity. It's the opposite of what's happening right now in France with the winemakers. So the winemakers right now, their weather is too warm and they have too much sugar and not enough acidity. So here, it's okay, we can work with it, but we would prefer to have more sun. More sun radiation is better. It's been very cold this year.
Okay. 好，刚刚我问 Rachel 说，在疫情前有没有遇到什么样的困难？那 Rachel 这边说啊，就是在疫情前遇到最大的困难是气候转变。那今年很奇怪的是，没有足够的太阳， 那没有足够太阳这件事情会影响到很多咖啡风味的发展，因为如果阳光不够的话，咖啡在成熟的过程比较没有办法发展出比较好的甜感，那这是他们遇到那时候最大的问题。但是这件事情有办法解决，就是说他们去控制水含量，去降低水含量，然后让这个咖啡在没有太多阳光的情况下，依然可以比较好的发展，然后展现出它该有的甜味。这是在疫情前他们遇到的一个问题。然后他有说到就是除了只有甜感被影响，但是其实酸质不会被影响，这倒是我今天听到一个蛮新的一个说法，就是说如果缺乏阳光会影响的是比较大的是甜感，那酸质呢影响可能没有那么大，也可能是因为翡翠的本质酸质就是非常的明确，也有这个可能。然后他有讲到就是今年天气很奇怪，就也比较热，然后但是阳光不太够。但是这件事情在酒庄是刚好相反，咖啡来说没有太阳会变成甜感不足，但是在酒的那一块，葡萄酒那一块，反而是因为温度高，所以它甜感太强，他们要去平衡，这是刚刚 Rachel 跟我们讲到的。Okay, let's continue.
Okay.
Oh, that's the that's the difficulty pre-COVID-19, right?
No, that was the difficulty this year, where
This
we
year.
already had COVID-19 because of the sun.
Yeah.
The sun problem was this year. The
Okay.
COVID problem is still a problem because we had coffees that we couldn't harvest because the harvesters had COVID. So when there's an outbreak of COVID here in Panama, they'll go to the farm and they'll shut down. If there's enough cases, they'll shut down that area where the workers pick or live, where the workers live while they're picking. So we had problems with that, but not very many problems. We did a lot of things to make sure that our harvesters didn't have to be exposed that much. For example, we bought a lot of food that they could take with their salary. They could buy at cost all of the food, so they didn't have to go to the supermarket. Things like telephone cards, which they needed because virtual education and all that kind of stuff for their kids. There was no school. We did a lot of changes inside of our warehouse so that the harvesters would not have to be in contact with people that might have COVID, but it was impossible to avoid. Anyway, it came to all of the farms ended up having COVID to some degree. Nobody got very sick. Nobody died. People got better, but we were very careful. And we had all the precautions there so that people would have the masks and they would have alcohol. But it's contagious and people get it. And fortunately, we didn't have any bad cases. So everybody was okay. The only problem was, as I mentioned, in one case where the Jaramillo farm the pickers' quarters had to be quarantined for 2 weeks, and we had coffee that needed to be harvested at that time, which couldn't be harvested.
Oh wow. All right, let me translate. 刚刚我们就问 Rachel 说，在疫情发生之后像今年疫情发生后有没有什么影响？那他讲到最重要一点就是缺工这件事情。那缺工这件事情其实全世界都在发生，刚好在采收期是需要大量的员工来摘豆子，但是因为现在没有办法离开家，也没有办法到庄园，所以会有这样子的问题。但是呢，其实翡翠庄有一点很幸运，他刚说幸运是说，他们有在做一些 warehouse， 有在做一些住的地方，那他们会提供足够的食物，然后买电话卡等等的，就是希望说他们不要在疫情期间的时候会感到惊慌失措。但是只有 一个小小的 case 是今年有发生的，就是在 Jaramillo， 这是一个地块，然后有一个一个员工啊，他被隔离了2个礼拜，那一区就暂时暂停，所以有2个礼拜是没有采收的，这是一个今年的意外，然后其余的都还算是蛮顺利的。Okay, Rachel, I'd like to share some stories. The lack of the labor, the workers, it happened all around the world. Because last month, I talked with the in Hertel, and he said that the most difficulty for this year is like nobody is going to pick the coffee. They are not like Esmeralda. You have some warehouse, and the workers can live in, and have sufficient food. But that's the most difficult for him, and all around the world because of the COVID. So I think it's really lucky for you to not to be too damaged because of the lack of labor. Yeah.
Well, yes. The harvesters need to work, though. Yeah, sure. I mean, they're going to work anyway, but we just wanted to make sure that they could be safe from not going to the store and not going to places. Oh, we would provide transport everywhere also for all of our employees, because the public buses were something that we didn't want anybody to get on. There were a lot of changes that we made to make sure that we had our labor and that we could take care of everybody during that time. Now it's much better. Now it's okay. You can go to the store. Now we have vaccines, and a lot of our harvesters and a lot of our employees are vaccinated. And that takes, as you know, that takes away the major part of the risk, which is ending up in the hospital or dying. So now it's much safer. I think it'll be better going forward.
It's like a shelter in Esmeralda for the workers, right?
And we tried to make it for sure. Yes.
You did it. You did it. I remember last year we go to Chumaco, and then I saw the workers. They live in the house, and they have their house, and I think it's very interesting that what makes you want to make a house for them.
Well, here in Panama, it's different than in Guatemala, I would guess. See, here in Panama, the harvesters come actually from a area that's called the Comarca, and it's about 3 hours away in a car. And they come and they spend the coffee harvest season here. So we have to have housing for them. That's just the way it works here in Panama. Everybody needs to have housing for the pickers, or the pickers can't pick on their farms because they can't come in the morning and go in the evening. There's no way. And there's not really enough housing in town for them to like come here and rent or something like that. So every farm here will have housing for the pickers. It's the only way that you can have a coffee farm here in Panama. I know that Costa Rica is different, Nicaragua is different, Guatemala, El Salvador. They can have people that from the area that come and harvest, but our harvesters, they come from deep in the mountains. So it takes them a while to get here, and we have to have housing.
All right, cool. Let me translate.
Yeah. Okay.
好。刚刚我们跟 Rachel 讲到说，他们最大的问题是缺工。那还有讲到说，因为我去年的时候去一个地块，然后那个地块我就看到有个房子是让工人选到工去住的。我就问他说，这个房子是为什么会建造？他就说巴拿马比较不像其他地方，尤其翡翠庄园的采豆工，他们是住在深山，所以如果要在采收期过来工作呢，可能从家里到工作地点就要花3个小时，回去要3个小时，所以这件事情是不可能的，必须要建造一个地方给他们住。所以也因为这样子，在疫情期间啊，其实他们已经有地方可以住，然后可以工作，又有收入，然后刚好也让翡翠庄园度过了这个采收期缺工的这个问题，所以也算是 也算是非常的幸运，也算非常幸运。All right. Shall we go to question 2?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Oh, the question 2 is like, what's the difference after the COVID?
What's the what?
Is it,
is it different
like,
after COVID?
yeah.
Well, we still have COVID, but let me think. So we just finished our harvest about a month ago, maybe about a month ago or less. And the harvesters are leaving now. They will go back to the comarca and they will live there until they come back again in end of November, end of October, middle of November. Around there, they will come back and we'll see how it goes. So we're hoping that we won't have any big outbreaks again with all the variants and all that kind of thing, but it's much better than it was last year. Things are looking better here in Panama as long as people keep being careful, wearing masks, and until people are fully vaccinated, there's enough people fully vaccinated, everybody has to, be very careful.
Okay. That sounds like a good result. Everything goes normally.
Yeah.
好，刚刚我就问 Rachel 说，那在疫情结束，其实也不能算结束，就是算控制下来后有什么比较大的转变。他说，其实他们还在疫情当中，那大概在1个月前的时候，采收期已经结束了，所以员工都回去了。那回去的时候一样也是，注意自身安全，那戴口罩，然后该小心出门的就小心出门，但是也算是顺利的度过了今年，对，大概是这个样子。好，那我接下来就要再问下一个问题。So let's dive into the question number 3. Would you like to tell us more about the series that is rarely be seen by Taiwanese people? I guess so. The series like two series. Can you hear me?
Series. Well, my AirPods
yes, like
lost
Ethiopian
battery.
accession.
Okay. The Ethiopian accessions is an easy thing to talk about. So we have an area in El Velo farm, which is our northernmost farm, where we have planted 400 different accessions from Ethiopia. An accession being similar to a variety, but it's just a number instead of a variety. 400 different varieties, or not varieties, accessions. Accessions is a number for a coffee. So each accession, we have about 10 to 12 plants of that accession. And Daniel and I cup these 400 accessions every year to try and find different coffees within the accessions, like different coffee flavors. So coffees that are intensely floral, or coffees that are very sweet, or coffees that have something different about them. Because all those 400, they're Ethiopian land races. Do you know what a land? That's why it's called the land race blend, because of that. Mm-hmm. Actually, I think that when I sent it to you, we hadn't changed the name. The name for that type of coffee is land race blend. Originally, it was called Ethiopian accessions, or Ethiopian blends. So those coffees are just a mix of coffees that originally came from Ethiopia and arrived here through Katia in Costa Rica, and we planted out on a farm. And the mix of this blend is just very different, because it's all coffees that are unique, none of them are catuais or caturras or típicas or anything like that. It's just a mix of the coffee that we harvest in that region where we have the 400 different accessions. I hope I made myself clear. Did you understand what I meant to say? Did you understand?
I guess so.
Do you know what an accession is? Do you understand what an accession is?
It's like a blend of many, like heirloom, right? Is it something like heirloom?
An accession, for example, Geisha coffee, its accession number is 2722. So accessions are the numbers that are assigned to a handful of seeds of coffee.
Ah, I see.
So 2722 was something that we also got from Katia in Costa Rica. Well, we got 400 additional ones to 2722. And those 400 accessions are they're land races. It means that they're not cultivated. They only grow in the wild, so it's not a cultivated variety. So those land races we harvest and we mix them together at the end of the season, and then we sell them as a landrace blend. So it's interesting because it's quite different. It's a little bit floral. It has just a bunch of flavors that are not typical or usual to the region. So that's why I like the landrace blend.
Oh, so this place is like you want to find a special flavor from all the 400 accession. And
exactly.
the seed is from Katia, from Costa Rica, and it has.
But it is originally from Ethiopia.
Ethiopia. Yeah, I see. Oh, cool.
Okay, and so for each accession number, we have 10 or 12 plants so that we have enough to be able to sample them, to harvest and sample and cup them every year. But what is left over, what we don't use to try and figure out the flavor profile of that accession number, we mix it all together, and that is our landrace blend.
Oh, I got it. I understand. Let me translate that.
Good.
Okay. 好，就是呢，我刚刚问到 Rachel 说，因为今年啊，我看到一个新的系列，它叫做伊索比亚的种源的 blend， 就是伊索比亚种源的综合。然后我想问一下，说这个是大概在讲什么？那 Rachel 说呢，这个有点像是他从哥斯达黎加的一个官方收集种子的地方，然后去收集来自伊索比亚的种子。那这些种子呢，它都是有官方的数字，像比如说艺伎啊，像是那种我们现在讲到的巴拿马艺伎，它可能当初的编号是272，那有这样子完完全全精准，而且没有受到任何杂交的可能性的这个种子，他们把它买进来，然后种在El Vevo， 它是一个地块，种在那个地块，然后每一种种子啊，种大概10棵到12棵树，然后每年都去试它的味道，然后找出在这个地块或者在这个地方的这个品种，它跑出来味道是最好的，然后再去把它给混合起来，那剩下不好的呢就会淘汰掉。所以每一年啊，他们都在做这件事情，希望是可以找到可能新的品种吧。或者从伊索比亚再找到一些在巴拿马又可以发迹的品种，所以这是这个 Ethiopian Accession Blend 在做的事情。对，这是其中一个计划。All right, Rachel. So what's the other series? We have Pacamara, SL28, and Bourbon. Can you tell us more about that?
Okay, we actually have Pacamara, we have Bourbon Pointu or Laurina. It's not a regular Bourbon. It's the Laurina is maybe less than 50% of the caffeine of regular coffee. So it's a very creamy, smooth, sweet coffee that a lot of people like. It's won competitions actually. It's competed in the Best of Panama in the traditionals category. So it's a very nice coffee, especially for people who don't want a lot of caffeine. And the one that says SL28, we found out 2 weeks ago that we did genetic testing on it. Somebody gave that to us as SL28. It's not SL28, it's SL34, but it's kind of the same. So we have to change the name for next year, but we thought it was SL28 until we found out a couple weeks ago that it's SL34. So that's just, a Kenya type coffee that has, it's got solid notes. The acidity is nice, phosphoric type acidity, and sort of sometimes things like tomato in the flavor. A nice, smooth, solid, bold cup. It's not a super floral cup like the geisha, but it's interesting. It's different. It always has people who love it. So we have very limited quantities of those, though. Last year, we sent out the offering sheet without paying very careful attention, and we had much, much more demand for those things than we have available. Not a lot.
I remember last year we go to Chumaco, and then we go into climb a little bit, and we've been to a place that you tell us that this part is for SL28, and we were like, wow, now the Esmeralda is going to plant different variety, and we are so looking forward to it. I think all the Taiwanese clients would like to taste it, want to try it. So we're looking forward to it. Okay, let me translate.
Okay.
OK， 好，刚刚呢，我在问Rachel 另外一个系列，这个系列呢，我觉得台湾好像还没看到，我不知道今年还出来还是怎么样。它有不同的品种，是 Pacamara， 然后 SL， 应该来说是 SL34， 但是他在2个礼拜前才得知，可能有送去做 PCR， 发现它是 SL34， 而不是 SL28。但Rachel 的想法是说，其实味道是差不多的，所以就没有打算再去把它更改过来。这是还有尖身波旁，尖身波旁我觉得大家一定超级有兴趣，它就是量非常的少，然后味道非常特别。那这3个品种啊，都是非常年轻的树种。其实我去年的时候有看到SL34， 它还非常的小，然后备受照顾啊，所以大家很期待说，在巴拿马种的肯亚种会不会有非常惊人的效果？所以我们也很期待说是哪一天可以喝到这些不同品种种在翡翠庄园这么肥沃、这么有经验的庄园区啊，会不会又蹦出一个新滋味？好，我看一下刚刚有讲到什么。OK。All right. Oh, we have a last question for me.
Sure.
And then I will look. Is there any question that our audience asking? Okay, so let's ask for the last question. Okay. New plans for the year.
New plans. Improve always in terms of looking for ways to dry our coffees in a more stable environment that is more consistent, not depends always on the weather. So we're looking at new ways to dry naturals that'll make them more consistent and less of a risk in terms of it raining or things like that. Other than that, well, we have a new cupping room that we're building also for the next time that you come. We did that during the pandemic. And yeah, we're choosing out coffees from those accessions to find maybe 4 or 5 of those. We've cupped them for at least 5 years. So we've chosen around 4 or 5 that we will be planting in other regions to also have a different variety that will be probably floral like the geisha, but not a geisha. A different landrace blend. Or a different landrace. A different accession number, which is the same as a landrace.
Oh, that would be a secret weapon.
We hope.
Okay. 好。
Also, I don't know,
Sorry.
So I'm just noticing now that it is 8:15. you can translate that, and we ask one more question because I have an 8:30 meeting. But I do know that you wanted to know about the true origin, so maybe I'll talk to you about the true origin as well.
Yeah. All right, let's dive into the true gem, GEM, right?
A family gem. The true origin, a family
yeah.
gem.
Uh-huh.
So
What's that about?
What is that about? The true origin is that geisha coffee was originally found in Hacienda La Esmeralda in 2004. You know that story. Found here on the slopes of the Jaramillo farm, of the Mario slopes and the Jaramillo farm. So that's why we went for the true origin and it is, at this point, Panama, geisha from Panama is the true origin of geisha coffee, even though it's not originally from here. This is the origin at this point because we are the ones who produce this type of coffee. And we were the first ones to find the Esmeralda. So, I mean, the geisha and Esmeralda. So that's why we have the new slogan, the true origin. A family gem since 1967. We've always talked about Esmeralda coffees as being gems. I mean, the name itself, Esmeralda in Spanish means emerald. So our coffees, we've always referred to them as gems because of the name of the farm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that ties in. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I got it. Okay, you say you are going to have a next meeting, right? Maybe we can just
at 8:30. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's maybe we just moving faster, and then I'll translate to the audience by myself.
Okay.
Is it okay? Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, is it the free talk time?
Okay.
I'd like to know that, is there anything you want to share with us, but I didn't ask, or anything
No,
that you really want to share with us?
I'm gonna, there's a detail. I don't know if you're gonna participate in the auction, but the auction, we changed a couple of things in the auction because our auction is generally very, very long. So in order to make it a little bit less long than last year, I think last year was around 7.5 hours. We would like to keep it very, very short. So we lowered the auction itself is only 1 hour. And after that, it goes into extended bidding. I don't know if you've been to one of the auctions, but it goes, and the extended bidding, every time somebody puts a bid, it's 3 more minutes, and then it's 3 more minutes. So the extended bidding goes down to 2 minutes to make it quicker. Plus, after the original 1 hour of the auction is over, and once it goes into extended bidding, the minimum bid increment goes from $1 to $2. So that people will make their decisions more quickly, and maybe we will have a very, very, I think this year the auction will be very, very quick. With those 2 changes, I don't foresee it being more than maybe 2 hours at the most, I think. We'll see.
Okay, I'll translate to the audience later. All right.
Okay.
I think
that was just a bit of information, but I don't know. Is there anything specific that you can think of that you want me to talk about?
I think it covers it all.
Yeah.
The auction lot.
Anything.
Well, actually, we are going to we separate the samples, roasted samples, to some like teachers and some leaders, to let them cup, and then we gather together and we discuss about which lot is our favorite, and trying to, well, get everybody together.
The first thing that you have to do is decide what is the maximum that you're willing to pay for that lot, and put it in as a proxy bid, because that's confidential and it won't go to that price unless somebody bids against you. And if you put in that maximum in there, then you don't have to sit in front of your computer the whole time, bidding. But again, of course, if somebody else wants to pay more for it, they're gonna outbid you. But my suggestion is to put in the highest amount that you have to discuss it with your people and find out what is that they're willing to pay for it. You won't have to pay that amount if it's not bid up to that amount. So It's confidential to put in a proxy bid of your maximum. You put it into the square, and then you're all set. You don't have to be so stressed about it. So I think your choice is good. I like the Montaña quite a bit. I think that is. I also think it's going to be one of the more expensive ones because there's less of it. So you always have to think about that too. When there's less coffees of one kind, they normally go for higher prices. So things to think about.
Yeah, we have to set the limits. That's the most important part. All right.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. It was very kind of you, and thank you very much for your patience with me trying to connect to live on Facebook. Maybe for next time, now I know.
Yeah.
Take care, and good luck in the auction. Let me know if you have any more questions, okay?
All right.
It was great speaking to you. Okay.
Let's see.
Hi to the Taiwanese audience, whoever's out there.
Day.
Thank you for listening.
Okay. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for your time. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 好，跟大家说一下，我们到后面的时候没有办法翻译，因为 Rachel 呢有其他的行程，那我们就想说，就结束之后，我再来统整刚刚我们聊的一大串。如果还记得的话，大家应该知道我记性不是很好。好，所以呢，刚刚底下大家问的问题啊，很抱歉来不及塞进来了。那我们可以私下，我可能会私下问一下 Rachel， 那希望她愿意替大家回答。那我会把这些问题呢收集起来，然后问 Rachel 回答之后把它贴出来，让大家开心一点。好，不然蛮可惜的，问了但是没有机会得到庄园主的亲自解答。好，时间可能设定太短了，还有其他的行程。那我们刚刚讲的呢，就是我在问一个问题，就是说看到翡翠庄园的脸书啊，最近一直在 po 一个叫做 Family Jam 的东西，他在讲，他希望把艺伎的发源，应该说发光地这件事情，再重新的跟大家再讲述一次，因为大家知道艺伎是在翡翠庄园，在2004的那个Daniel， 他发现这个，那他希望是让大家再重新回温一下这个故事，所以最近呢，他们在做一个讲述说这个艺伎传奇的来源，他希望把这故事再讲一遍，所以这是他们最近在做的事情。好，那后来我就问他说有没有新的计划，在今年或者是明年，他说其实他们每年计划都是在努力的让品质稳定，然后让风味更好，让咖啡在成长的时候不要受到太多比如说气候变迁，或者是各种外在的影响，这是他们每年在做的事情。好，还有什么呢？还有讲到今年的竞标他希望可以快一点，就是你知道去年然后前年有时候搞到7个小时的很久，一开始的时候也才1个小时，后来就越拖越长，越拖越长。那他们今年会希望说把时间缩短，不然真的太累。所以OK， 所以他会把这个我们每次 bid 就是喊价，原本是1块美金，那现在会变成2块美金，然后好像也把限时的时间给缩短了。那我们就拭目以待，看看有没有机会真的变短。我是觉得拉锯战还是会在的，拉锯战还是会在，我们就等着瞧，我们等着瞧。好，今天感谢大家收看。那我想说，把翡翠庄园的一些故事，包含我们这几年去产地收集到的一些故事啊，加上今天的直播，把它剪成一个漂亮的影片，然后来介绍翡翠庄园。这个是我们之后会做的事情。那今天这个直播呢，主要是在竞标前，我们可以办一次见面会。那今年没办法去产地，所以我们见面不如开一个直播，让大家一起见面。大概是这样的用意。那好，今天这个3部分， 第一部分就是每个批次的介绍，再来就是我很想问的问题，那也都解决了。那再来就是未来的愿景，刚刚翡翠姐姐也回答我们了。好，来我来看一下大家的留言了。吕浩哲，我有念错吗 ？Why we couldn't find ingenuities from Panama？ 啊，这个我觉得我们要去问他哎，因为其实我觉得是有哦，我觉得可能有哦，因为像我们去哥斯达黎加的时候，它就有2棵树，就是咖啡的2个的品种的就是妈妈跟爸爸，大家有没有听过这故事？妈妈跟爸爸。这是有的，所以在哥斯达加有，我相信巴拿马有机会有，但这一题我没有办法回答你，我们得去问庄园主。好，那如果你可以提供我多一些资料，说为什么会觉得巴拿马没有这样子的种源吗？可以多一些资讯给我，让我问的时候比较好问。OK，Lisa，哇，你打西班牙文，我看不懂啊。我好像听到日照跟湿度影响甜度，没错。怎么样能创造出庄园主你喜欢的风味？哦，这点呢，其实庄园主他有说，就是这次竞标批次是从200个400还200，就是从好几百个批次里面选出来的10支，所以每一支他都是非常喜欢的。那至于说他怎么样去做不同的味道啊，这个我觉得啊，像我们每年去看，他们不管在种植上面就包含说，他如果这个地块种怎么样的品种，那出来会大概是什么味道，他就会知道说，那我的处理法接下来要怎么做。比如说雷用区，它如果是走黄柠檬或者是柑橘调的，那他可能就是从这边收来的艺伎呢，他就知道说，那我可能想要做水洗，能够最能表现出这样子的风味特性。然后每年仔细的做笔记，然后每年去看它的成长，看它的改变，所以才会有现在我们大家喝到这么好的咖啡。这是因为他们历史不断的堆叠这些经验起来的。OK， 还有马正问水洗洗蜜机跟传统水洗翡翠处理法的方向性。OK， 这个我可以大概讲一下。我想一下怎么说哦。好，翡翠庄园呢，在一开始的时候啊，就是那个时候是水洗槽，那个时候水洗槽就是最传统的方式水洗，把那个咖啡豆丢进去，然后在那个水里面泡，把那个果胶给泡掉。但是后来他们进了一台机器，那台机器是可以直接把果皮、果肉跟果胶通通去除掉，就很厉害的 pumper， 把这3个全部去除掉，所以最后出来的水洗会非常干净。但是呢，这个机器进来之后啊，水洗槽几乎就是被丢在旁边了，就没有去理它了。但是在前年的时候，特殊风味开始风行。那大家如果知道说这种特殊风味啊，就是在分解果胶。如果我们先不要讲厌氧日晒，我们讲厌氧蜜处理或者是厌氧水洗等等，它就是要保留那个果胶。但是这个机器一裁就直接把果胶也去掉，就没有办法做特殊的发酵，所以因此这个发酵槽啊，才重启炉灶，才重新开始回来被利用。所以要看他们想要做什么样的风味跟什么样的批次，来决定他们要做什么处理法，用什么机器。对，这个是哇，我觉得这个如果他要讲的话，可以开一整集来讲。我那时候去有看到各种的机器，然后他们也有厌氧筒，厌氧筒也是好几个。对，这个好多。然后最近在日晒方面有点改变。去年去的时候看到，本来的日晒都是放在 patio， 就是一个大的阳台上面，拿豆子在上面晒。 那在去年的时候呢，我们去看到它架起了非洲床，所以今年呢，去年应该算去年大家喝到的日晒，几乎都是在非洲床上面做出来的，而不是往年传统的方式。那这一点也让他们吃尽了苦头。就是那天我们有聊，他说，你知道如果用非洲棚啊，然后用慢速干燥，整个日晒时程拉很长很长，导致他们每次出货跟正常的出货时程都拖了很久很久。那就期待说这样子用非洲床可以有比之前平铺在阳台上更好的效果。那也确实他们有得到了这个好的回报，所以今年的日晒批次全部都是放在非洲床上面，然后慢速干燥，有的干燥60天，有的干燥更多，是吧？记得没错的话，就是几乎都是放到非洲床上面的。那水洗呢？其实，水洗今年的5支全部都是有加入不同的酵素，它们叫做 special yeast fermentation， 所以已经没有传统的水洗了。这个其实翡翠每一年都在更新，那今年也算是个突破。我记得在前年的时候啊，是第一次出现特殊处理，然后再来呢，翡翠就把它分成特殊处理组跟一般的处理，就传统的处理法。然后去年我记得好像又把这个分界拿掉了，那今年呢又全部改成，它是写水洗，但是它的细节里面写的是特殊菌种的水洗。对，所以每一年呢都有不同的改变。这个关于处理法实在是太多可以说了，我觉得不如翡翠姐姐如果有空的话，我们到时候再开一集专门讲这个，好不好？曾大哥 ，Lisa 说 ，Hola，对不起，想说打西文比较快。好啦，我去学西文好不好？你教我西文啊，我西文到现在只有 amigo。好，那今天感谢大家收看我们这个产地联盟的第1集，很开心邀请到翡翠庄园大名鼎鼎的 Rachel 姐姐来跟我们一起开创这个系列。那也很感谢大家一起收看。如果大家想要了解更多的庄园，或者想要觉得我们哪边可以改进啊，尽量跟我说，我们毛起来做。好，再次跟刚刚有列出问题的人说声，等我们一下，我去问一下 Rachel 这些解答，然后我再把它整理出来贴出来。好 ，Rachel 感觉就很大咖，超大咖。巴拿马大概收入很大一部分来源就是翡翠庄园啊，超级大咖。没错，看得出来。曾大哥，超级感谢您回答，您客气了。你的处理法，你的机器超多，客气了，客气了。好了，那产地联盟的第1集，我们今天就到这边，感谢大家收看。那也谢谢原石咖啡那边，好像有及时帮我们翻译，感谢感谢。那我们会把它做成 YouTube， 然后再上传。那再拜托大家去帮我们 YouTube 点一下追踪啊，因为我发现团咖啡的社团它是私密社团，所以我们在里面搞什么事情，外面几乎都看不到，所以我需要大家帮忙宣传。如果你们对产地的资讯或是一些比较源头的东西，想要听到当事者怎么说的话，帮我们宣传一下啦。好，那今天就到这边，感谢大家收看，也很感谢 Rachel，拜拜。